World of Warcraft Arena PvP is a complex and dynamic game mode that requires a lot of skill, strategy and coordination to succeed. Everybody who's competing in PvP knows that, but do you know exactly which 6 core mechanics are hidden under the surface and how to work on them? In this in-depth PvP guide I am going to share the open secrets with you and help you improve your performance in WoW Arena PvP by showing you real-time in-game analysis examples for each aspect in solo shuffle and real arena situations, starting with basic concepts and getting detailed more and more as time goes on. So let's not waste time and start with aspect number 1. Attack. Attack refers to the offensive actions you take during a match. This includes using your offensive abilities to deal damage to your opponent, and the key to a successful attack is timing and coordination with your teammates. We all know this of course, but also the DPS rotation is playing into this heavily. You need to be able to do mythic raid levels of DPS through optimized key bindings and muscle memory. This is a part of your microgaming on which every player can easily work on, even outside of arenas. But in an arena setting it's different of course, because you are facing moving targets that will kite and CC you on your goes. That's the main reason why a good offensive go should be set up nicely by you and your teammates through cross CC. Also, the ability to switch targets fast and spontaneously when you see them popping a big defensive or shielding is important. To clarify the importance of this very first aspect, you don't need to be number 1 on damage done in details to win a game. Damage and pressure is always good of course, especially in longer games, but the timings of your damage outputs are important as well. Let me explain it on this footage on my BM Hunter for example. So in this solo shuffle matchup, the warrior decides to go onto the priest, so I just follow there. What I try to do is then of course get out my Bursus BM extremely fast, cause I saw he's making also a fat go, and I just stick onto it. I even stun there, but yeah, it was of course not the optimal play there, but we got the Transcendence, we got the Holy Ghost, and now of course they want to go onto me. The priest has missed the dome a little bit here, but it's all fine. I try to kite a little bit, I try to avoid damage, and then we go onto the priest again, who just decides to jump there of course, which is not a bad move there. But now after we're getting the Iron Bark from the Feral here, he should be the easier target then, which we also go on to now. Of course the grip from the priest was very nice there. I let him sit the mind control because I'm setting up for the next goal. Yeah, as you will see, I def this, I turtle this. I'm pretty sure that we will get it in the next go. He bolts the priest, which was very nice. Of course we are lowering the feral still. I go for the scatter trap to make it safe, and then that's it. So basically at the end you see the warrior did low damage, I did a little bit more. The other two from the opponent team did more damage, but our damage was like spikier in the right moments with the right CCs and so on. I also did this consistent damage the whole game, so he then got overpressured over time, and that was the key then to get the kill. Number 2. Defense. Defense refers to the defensive actions you take during a match to protect yourself and your teammates from incoming damage. This includes using your defensive abilities such as shields or heals to reduce incoming damage or counteract taken damage. Effective defense requires good awareness of your surroundings and the ability to anticipate to incoming attacks. This aspect is a crucial part of arena PvP, and it does not consist of just pressing a shield and calling it a day. Movement and CC timings are playing into this too. That means if you can save up a defensive CD and be able to just defend yourself by strong kiting and avoiding incoming damage, then you are above the average player already. The goal is to maximize your damage output while minimizing your damage intake with good positioning, movement and CD timings. With time and experience you will just learn to kite properly, and when it is inevitable to use your defensive abilities even before the big damage from the opponents will come in. Of course it is also important to communicate the defensives with your mates to avoid overlapping big ones. This can be a short call like I dome next or I bubble next. So I hope you see the importance of the defensive aspect here, and why the counterplay together with your mates is as important as it is when going for an offensive play. But let me give you an in-game example now. Here in a solo shuffle matchup again, I start with laying my traps there. I see they're lurking around behind the pillar, and then I insta make my start, trying to get the trap, missing it there. It was also not good with going in scatter trapping, but it's fine. The druid bashed then very nicely. We insta made the pressure. When it goes to the defensive, you saw I popped my shield there. I saw they were not connecting well, so I just shielded first. I try to like cycle my defensives through, of course. I don't want to insta use my turtle or whatever. This is the SOS button, and I also saw that the priest is like, I think it was also the stronger priest here in this setup in general, so I just trusted him a little bit more and tried to delay my stuff as much as possible. Of course also the feral was the strongest DPS in this matchup, and so I went for like the offensive plays, tried to kite a lot, tried to trap them as much as possible and saved up my defensives. I didn't even turtle, I guess, but for the next burst the turtle was ready. When I would go low I would turtle, but there was no need even in that game really, because they were easy to kite, they never hoshed or they never had like good uptime, and then it's an easy win. Number 3, positioning. Positioning refers to the placement of your character on the map. Good positioning allows you to maximize your damage output while minimizing your vulnerability to enemy attacks. This includes knowing when to kite or chase opponents, how to line of sight incoming spells, and how to take advantage of the different maps. Both aspects, attack and defense, are always linked to positioning play somehow, but are overlooked by the majority of average players. Everyone heard at least of the triangle positioning between you and your teammates, but things are getting shaky fast as soon as one of your mates is not in the right position anymore and decides to push in out of the blue. The main key of positioning is to LOS opponents, especially casters, while being good reachable for your mates at any given time of the game. But there are some situations in which you are allowed to chase and pressure so that your mates need to adapt to you. But A, optimally you communicated that before, and B, you have at least one defensive on your roster to counter a potential lockdown behind the pillar. The positioning game is overlooked by most people, also by me sometimes, because it is something always ongoing and dynamically changing throughout an arena game, and therefore needs to be adjusted nearly every second by everyone accordingly. This can be a challenging task even for experienced players, and even the best of the best will have room for improvement on this one aspect alone. But it is worth practicing it regardless of your experience level, because this aspect alone can make or break a game. Let me give you an example here by showing good and bad positioning, which by the way tells an experienced player instantly how high your overall arena XP is. So again, a solo shuffle matchup, you see I'm pretty open there, but that's part of my plan. I lure the warrior onto me, the priest is also then open pretty easily, and I try to bait him behind the pillar there. He's died by the sorting, and because also his priest is super open and hodged, and now he's super open after also using his die by the sword. And on the next CC chain, then it's of course GG. Like the key aspect here was that I just fall back and that I baited the warrior into the open. The priest followed then of course, and that brought us into the winning situation at the end. Let's go on with number 4, cooldown trading. The cooldown trading refers to the exchange of powerful abilities or spells between you and your opponent. The goal is to force your opponent to use their defensive cooldowns while saving your own for when you need them. Effective cooldown trading requires good timing and communication with your teammates. Like I mentioned already in one of my videos before, think of WoW as a fast-paced card game with positional adjustments. The main goal of the cooldown trading aspect is to when to trade what to get the upper hand in the match. This will come with experience in detail, but here's a little shortcut tip. If you are not able to instantly avoid your enemy's incoming damage by kiting or CCing, then you should use a big enough defensive that counterplays their big offensive. That means a pally is hoshing you and wants to burst now with the warrior that feared both of your mates simultaneously. You should not even wait a second to trinket turtle or trinket dome and rapture, or trinket port or ice block this. I think you get the point. The optimal cooldown trading has a lot to do with overall awareness in a game, but also is not so easy to track always if you have not established a very high level of game knowledge. You need to know how big the used offensive CD of your enemy is to counterplay it with a defensive that is at least on the same level or higher. The cooldown timers are usually a good indicator for that, but all other aspects explained before are accumulating into this part also, because the higher your experience level gets, the more you know how to save up cooldowns and delay actions by kiting, CCing and outplaying your enemy. Let me explain the aspect of correct cooldown trading with this example. And let's concentrate here on the cooldown trading aspect. And what you see is the Pali is popping his wings. I insta-dome of course. Of course I get encountered by the monk then with the Ring of Peace. But the rogue that I play with is fast in reacting and also kittening than the worry. So we basically shut it down, his wings go there. And yeah, that's the part of cooldown trading. Like when you see a big offensive pop-up like the wings, you know you have to at least use a dome or a PS. It depends, even like sometimes you can even use both, like a dome and a rupture after that. Also of course the monk is a strong counter against it because he can just kick you out of the dome. Now the Pali, you see him shielding when he's dropping low, but he shielded plus bubbled. Now IMD of course instant debubble. We now getting the other shield, the second shield from him, and I swapped there because he used a lot of defensives already. He's pretty open and we do not need to risk something anymore. Of course the monk has still his cocoon up, but we try to set up then a CC to make then a kill there. I fear him, I pressure also the and Shadow Word Death, kill him, and the monk tried to cocoon there, you can see it. He's now angry, it insta-casted it on himself instead of his Pali. He was 1 millisecond too late I guess, but also it's not cool to not leave there, man. Number 5. Strategy. Strategy refers to the overall plan you and your teammates have for winning a match. This includes choosing your targets, coordinating your attacks and defenses, and adapting to your opponent's strategy. Effective strategy requires good communication and a deep understanding of your class, your teammates' classes, and your opponent's classes. Also knowing and executing your setups, which are your winning conditions, and how to counterplay the enemy team's setup and winning conditions is part of this aspect. Let me give you a short and easy example on the most popular composition. RMP. Here you want to have cross CC on the off targets to make a bursty go on the lockdown focus target, which will in most cases bring out a lot of big defensives and trinkets already in the very first go, so that you can decide the game for your team in the second go. Last but not least, number 6. Communication. Another minor but important aspect is effective communication with your teammates in real arena matches. Yes, you heard right, solo shuffle isn't considered as real arena for good players because of the randomness, lack of coordination and systemic flaws of the Stone Age MMR system. But that's a topic for another video maybe. I'm talking about 2s or 3s. What effective communication does not mean is that you shout out all your used CDs into your mic in the hope that your mates will read your mind and act accordingly to it. Effective communication means that you give short but important information by factoring in the current situation of the game. That means, for example, you communicate when to set up a go by telling your mates set up in 5 seconds, or when to fall back when the healer is troubled with calls like back 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 or peel peel peel. Also, as healer you can throw in sometimes if you're in a good spot and you and your mates are safe by saying you're fine, go go go, or if it's not the case by saying care care care. Maybe you notice the repetition of some words in these callings, and also when you watch experienced and high rated arena players like Xaryu or Peekaboo for example, you will hear this oftentimes. To some it may sound funny, but this serves the purpose of fast engagement by your mates and makes sure that the mates don't overhear this important message and react in a fast way accordingly, especially if it is a dangerous situation. Experienced mates will then most likely follow this up with some kind of bigger reaction like I dome, or I bubble, to show that it's noticed and to not overlap CDs with the mates. Of course, everybody has his unique style of communicating things, and that's also why it is important to work on your communication with stable mates if you want to have better outcomes. This is also a crucial aspect that will evolve with time when you find mates you're flowing with, so to speak. But it's definitely an aspect that every team member should actively work on after games in a brainstorming kind of setting. So, to be successful in WoW Arena PvP, you need to master all of these 6 core mechanics: attack, defense, positioning, cooldown trading, strategy and communication. By understanding these aspects and practicing them, you'll be able to effectively work with your teammates and gain an advantage over your opponents. Being A-OK in all of these areas makes you already a decent player, don't get me wrong, but if you want to compete in PvP nowadays and aiming higher, you need to get good in all of these fields. Also, don't forget, all these aspects are part of a skill set that will improve with knowledge and correct practice. So keep practicing, and a shout out to you if you made it this far into the video. I am pretty sure you will improve, and if this guide helped you out so far, give this video a like and watch this upcoming video that will most likely also resonate with you. See you there.